What's the first thing you think about when I talk about your England careers?
Take that on. I remember South Africa World Cup 2010. I was on the golf course and I remember getting a call from Franco Baldini saying that you're going to the World Cup. And I've got the call and he said, by the way, you're going to be number 9. Right? So then obviously straight away, the first person I call is my dad always. I call my dad and I say, Dad, going to the World Cup and I'm wearing number 9. And then obviously he put it in perspective for me because I thought, great, man, it's the World Cup. That was all I thought about. Then he thought, actually, he broke it down for me and said, think about how many boys and girls play football in England or English who dream of playing for England. Think of how many people make it as a professional footballer. Think of how many people get the chance to play for England. Then think of how many people get the chance to play for England in a World Cup. And then think about how many people want to wear the number 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like, on this particular occasion, it was me. And then when he broke it down like that, I started getting goosebumps and thinking, oh my God, this is really prestigious. And then Capello proceeded to play me for 3 minutes in the whole tournament.
So what I love about this is that all three of you, when I say the moment you get called up for England, your eyes light up. I remember having a conversation on BT with Rio and Frank and Stephen. And I remember Stephen saying something really interesting. He said, playing for England was hard. It wasn't enjoyable. And then I speak to Coutinho, who goes away with Brazil, and they love it. And we never had that with England. So I think the natural progression for this conversation is you go from, oh my goodness, I'm going to play for my country, and you first, at the age of 6, kicking a football, dreamed of that moment. Why are you all now sitting here, having had brilliant England careers, but you never lifted a trophy for England? What wasn't right in your era?
We never had it. If I asked you, did you ever play in an easy England game where you come off and you went, that was the easiest game, you didn't even get a sweat on? For our clubs, you could name loads of games. You probably forgot more than you'd remember how many easy games you had. With England, it was never easy. I always used to think, this is graft. Go to Moldova and come off sweating, thinking, Jesus, we got through that one.
Why?
Because tactically we were so poor. We were so rigid. I remember
what was our
Capello's
patterns of play? Do you remember? No one ever sat
no
me down
pattern
and
of
gone,
play.
right, when you get the ball, you need to have this option. When the goalie gets the ball, you need to be here. When Rio gets the ball, you can be here or here. And like you see with players now, there's clear patterns. It's like standard for even the poor teams. You can see what they're trying to do. With us, I don't know what we were trying to do.
We relied on individuals. You look at the big games we won. Crouchy scored the goals in the World Cup. It's individual brilliance, isn't it? It's just because Crouchy's there and knows where to be instinctively. It ain't we've worked to get in that position to then play. It was just get it there and then someone will be there to finish it off. Michael Owen in the World Cup.
Did you ever feel you could go and challenge tactics or discuss them in more detail with the coaches?
No, well, Fabio Capello, no. I remember he screamed at Theo Walcott that first session. Do you remember? Theo Walcott turned like a ghost. Recovered. Because he said before the session, he played right wing. He said, I don't want you to run inside. He was in Austria before South Africa. He said, I don't want my wingers to come inside. Stay wide. He really went on about it. John that point home, and the first whistle, the first play of the game, Theo's run inside. And he stopped the session, screamed, going nuts. And I remember Theo getting on the coach after going, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So scared.
Yeah. What does that do then to the rest of the players who are established internationals who should be able to share their thoughts or their views?
Culture weren't like that.
Yeah, but I also think I think the England national team has benefited from I don't want to say less competitive Premier League, but a less aggressive Premier League, if you like. I think we all remember, Roy Keane in the tunnel. Would that happen now? Little things like that. I'm talking about horrific tackles flying in.
We almost had a fight. Anfield, remember?
We've had fights. We were mates with England, but we were, things would go on the pitch.
I'd win that fight.
I don't. Well, really, I would. I just feel like I definitely think that the Premier League is a different place now.
But why did none of you, and there were other big leaders in the England team at the time, why did nobody see this and change this?
Well,
why did you not see that you weren't close or tight?
Go back to
you're smart people.
2010, and we talk about why didn't anyone go to the manager? JT tried to speak to the manager, and he was the captain along with Rio at that time. I can't remember, but the big players, and he just got absolute shut down. Right. So a JT then come out and he did an interview before one of the World Cups, and he was like, well, you know, I can't remember he was like, we're going to have a chat with the manager about something in the meeting. The press must have asked the question, the results were bad. And then we had this meeting arranged with Capello, where it was going to be the players. Do you remember? And the players and the manager, and we was going to have a conversation about what we can do. And we turned up, and then he just went, go to dinner. And that was it. And I'm like, probably could have been handled a bit better in terms of, in terms of how you ask about it. But we could have had a really forthright conversation just before a World Cup. And we could have got aired things, you know. I
think the culture was different though. The culture was different because that's like, it was almost like these managers then probably saw it more like you're questioning my the way I rule this
other
team.
nations
and
were able to win tournaments and competitions. Like they were doing something that England weren't. Like
there was chalk and cheese, wasn't it? We had Sven, which was so relaxed, and then it was getting labelled like player power. Players are running the show, you know, and so they went so far the other way. So you weren't allowed to speak to Fabio Capello because he ruled it with an iron fist. It was like we had this, that didn't work, so we're going to have this now, and we were just told this is how we do it until things started going badly at a World Cup. And all the, you know, kind of things that were banned or stopped were allowed to. He tried to relax us because he realised he sort of panicked mid-tournament that we weren't performing.
Sven was bringing like shirts to get signed by Bex though, when you remember. He was the England manager, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Getting shirts, like Bex to sign shirts, like I was almost like...
What was your perception of that when you're seeing a manager do that?
I just turned away in disgust. I was like, whoa. Like, because the England manager's like, he's the man, isn't it? He's like, your manager is like, you look at him as if he's the rules of roost. He directs where we're going. He's like, looks at no man in this team with like admiration or would show that, bit of a star, bit of an icon there. It just felt like that was I was like, wow, it was mad as well. It is weird this, but Bex is an absolute superstar and we're all happy and that's fine. That's not a problem. But it's mad. We used to laugh at it as a team because I remember we got off the coach once and Bex got off the coach and all of our security just went with Bex. And the whole team is standing there like that, and there's like fans coming from all over the gaff, and they're going, like, we're all getting marauded by all these fans, pictures here, there, and you look around and Bex is just, it weren't his fault, just the security was like, he's the superstar, got to look up. But like, isn't it, for me, I didn't give a hell about anything like that, don't bother me, but when you look at it afterwards, with hindsight, you think, okay, there must have been some people subconsciously,
together, right, in the same hotel,
but subconsciously, some people might go, flipping, I was one rule for him, one for us.
So Gareth told us that one of the things that he's started doing is bringing former players back in to present shirts to the squad the night before games. If you were invited back in and
I've done it,
and if you could, well, what was the one message then that you delivered to the squad? I
absolutely melted. I don't get nervous, like, you know, but I had to go in. I was working doing the game, and Gareth said, would you give the shirt to Callum Hudson-Odoi and another lad who'd made their debut just before the kickoff, like an hour and a half before the kickoff. And I've not been in an England dressing room for like a good 7-8 years, but in my head I'm thinking that's a breeze, like, you know, just they're my peers, my colleagues, play football with them, they're only footballers. I've got in there, the legs started shaking, I started stuttering, and I was like, I was like, the lads must have been looking at me thinking, who is this geezer?
Stuttering.
I was all over
Shows
the
what
gaff.
England does to you even today.
But then again, and all I've got to say is, yeah, well done, boys. You know, and that's it. But I went, and maybe I'll have to redeem myself. If there's someone needs a shirt, I'll have to come up with some.
Well, I like Damien's question. If you were able to give one message to those lads, what would the message be if you went in there?
No fear. Don't have any fear. Like, shackles off. One opportunity to go to this World Cup and win it. Go out there and just do your thing.
No, I would go. My message to the team would be, there's gonna be lots of trials and tribulations in this tournament. We don't know what we're gonna face. You know, we're prepared for everything, but go out there. And the one thing, when we get on that plane to leave Qatar with the trophy or without the trophy, you make sure that you have no regrets. You live it from now until then. So when you're 15 years down the line working in media, you know, we can all pat you on the back as legends. Something along those lines.
I'll go with that one.
Just a quick one to say thank you so much for watching this content on the High Performance channel. We would love it if you would subscribe. You know, most people that watch what we do don't subscribe. If you can subscribe, we can make this bigger, better, bolder than we've ever done before. So hit subscribe right now and help the High Performance Podcast make a real difference to the world. See you soon.